straight into it. Let's see. Mind, body, soul check. It's Joe Dash in the building. I'm back again, and I've got a gentleman here that I've been trying to talk to for a minute. Trust me. I'll tell you the story like this. It was a Sunday. I will never forget. It was a Sunday. I'm scrolling through my timeline, looking at all the positive people, because when you have social media, use it wisely. You can really get inspiration. I saw this gentleman dancing, sweating. Like, this dance wasn't a two-step, no, sweating, dancing, and that's all he's doing. So when I see the video, I was like, okay, interesting. What is this about? He's dancing, the rhythms are playing in the background. Then a few days later, I went back on it and he was talking. And he just said one line. I was like, yep, I need to connect with his brother. He said a line called "Heaven is your responsibility." When he said that, I think where I was mentally, I needed to hear that. Because I was talking to a few friends of mine and I was trying to explain to them that all the things we lack growing up, whether our parents didn't give us confidence or teach us this or teach us anything else, it's responsibility is different from fault. And when you said heaven's my responsibility, it gave me all the information I needed just in that line to articulate to my brothers that it's our responsibility now in the now. So with no further ado, I'd like to welcome Mikel the Energy to the building. Mikel, what's happening, King?
Well, go on, my bro. Thank you for having me, man.
Bro, I'm good, King, man. So I just want to know about where you from, King. Where's your origin and background? We can get deep to where you really from, but just
like that.
We gotta step them into it.
Yeah, fam.
Because I saw your face, I was like, brother, wait, we won't get into it. Just give us the surface.
I was born in Edgware Hospital in Northwest 9, London. If you wanna get simple with it.
Let's get simple because we have
born and raised in the LON Dion.
Cool. You born in Edgware. Yeah, did you grow up in Edgware?
I grew up all around Barnet and Brent. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And was it spirituality a thing, or this journey you're on, was it from then? Do you have parents that were into it?
Into what?
Into spirituality from a point of view, from the way you teach it.
I guess so, but not so. Like, we wasn't raised in any religion. We had religious, I guess, trinkets around us through family,
Right.
And I guess somewhat shared Christian values in a way, but we were never told we were Christians. We have Muslim names, but we were never told we were Muslims.
So is your ancestral background, obviously, we know where we all come from, but is your parents Caribbean, in Africa?
Jamaica and St. Vincent.
Jamaica and St. Vincent.
Yeah.
That's dope. So did you ever go back there? Did you ever go hang out there?
Yeah, I went to Jamaica when I was a kid. St. Vincent was where I went when I finished my GCSEs.
Right.
With inverted commas. So I went there for like 5 weeks, and that actually was a real turning point in my life.
Yeah.
Because of the environment shift.
Okay. How old were you? How old were you when you went?
16. So just out of
so you're old enough to really absorb the environment and see what's going on, because you're not a little child. How were you at before you found that awakening? How were you in the end? Because you sound like where we from. How were you navigating at 16, 17? Were you conscious of your existence within the fabric of saying, I am an entity and I'm existing in this space? Obviously, there was no massive influence to say, oh, you're Christian. Like you said, you wasn't told you were Christian. You just understood some principles that people were inputting. So at 16, growing up in this LON Duane, you know how it get. How was you navigating? I want to know how young Mikel was navigating at 16, 17. What were you doing?
He was just charming his way through every experience. I've escaped some very, very, very sticky situations just through my charm and my way with words. And, I'm the guy that's like, I've been in the most grimiest environments.
Right.
And had the privilege of being spotless. in those environments. And so those environments, like growing up in those environments, allowed me to learn so much, but not be tarnished by it. And I can't say how. That's just, I guess, certain things are part of the path you're supposed to walk. But I was able to be in certain environments when I was young, and especially when you reach age 16, that's when it starts getting scary. For young Black men, like life starts moving differently. But I was in certain environments where things were real like that, and I got to have first-hand experience of certain things, but not be tarnished by it, and then it informed a lot of the things that I do, and my ability to connect with different people.
Did you go sixth form? Did you go uni or anything of that?
No. Listen, from age 9, I was like, I cannot wait to leave school, because that's when my life would start.
How did you know that though? How did you have that thinking? Like, how did you have that?
I don't know. I just knew, because, you know, I spot rhythm from early. Like I knew I experienced racism at 6, and I knew he's got to treat me like this because I'm Black. Do you get what I'm saying?
Wow.
You know, so like I knew all of those things, and then I just noticed school was just a bit whack. And it just, you know, and so I couldn't wait to be old enough to make my own decisions. Where no one could tell me nothing.
Did you have anything in school that you enjoyed? Like any subject matter, maths, science, English, anything?
Yeah.
Jealous of subject.
What do you mean? Hold on, don't let me get deep with it. Girls are a subject to school. Girls are my biggest subject.
Oh, so now when you're in school and gal are the biggest subject, yeah? Because when man them say that, I'm thinking to myself in a traditional sense, because I know how deep I want to go, but I need to step my listeners through the conversation, because for them to understand your brilliance in that sense. Because at the end of the day, what you bring in that sense is just open up a new channel. You know what I mean? Especially it's helped me in my teaching. You haven't, and I'm sure you're aware of this now because you influence so many people, but hearing your conversations influenced my teaching a little bit. Just because I have a channel of thought when I'm talking to people. And I think that's also powerful. So you say women are the biggest subject. We're definitely going to get into that because I've got questions on that. But just being at that age, at 16, and women were your subject, why
meaning
was that?
Like what I mean is like, again, I'm saying that as the man now and observing myself.
Right.
That was what I paid most attention to, because you know, other than the obvious music and PE, but that's just fun and frolic, where women were always, and look, from girls, not women because they were girls, you know, that relationship with them, and it wasn't always about trying to get something, it was just that interaction. I was always
so it wasn't a sexual thing.
It became sexual. As soon as you figure out something comes out of your willy, you're like, okay, I think I might. Do you get what I'm saying? But from young, from like age 6, that same. As soon as I went into school, I knew that's a girl and I like her. And I'm really interested in our differences.
Our dynamics and how it would
our dynamics. But what that did is, like, you know, go to secondary school, that became my wisdom comes from the fact that I experienced most of what people experience in their 20s before I was 16.
Okay, so you had your
old
spirit.
Well, I guess it was an old spirit, but put it this way, I got licks early in my secondary school relationship, and so that taught me a lot about women.
Okay.
Later on, do you get what I'm saying? And so I never made those same mistakes. But if we're talking like on a serious sense, English has always been my favorite subject because it's the written word. I like language. I was always good at English. You know, I was predicted A stars. Do you know what I got?
What do you?
I got an E in English. Because by the time I reached 16, I gave up on school completely. I was like, I would sit there and wait the whole thing out.
So what did your parents say at the time? What was your parents, how were they taking this? Because, you know, we grew up in a Black home. My
parents, I'm blessed, man. My parents, truly, if my parents were me in 2020, they'd be like, fuck school. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, gotcha.
But like, then they're not. And so they couldn't articulate that, but they knew, like I'd get suspended from school a lot, and my mum wouldn't even be mad. Because she wouldn't even tell me at the time, but she knew it's because of their racist view of my way of being.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like my mum's a psychotherapist, so she knew that they don't understand this young black boy. So they think his hyperactivity means aggression or means that he's trying to misbehave. Do you get it?
Or did he know how to teach you as a black boy? Did he know how to reach you through their
exactly.
They couldn't relate, so they know how to teach you.
Yeah, it's not their culture. And my parents, for all of their kids, they enforced integrity, honor, you know, living up to your word, representing your family. Like that's it. It's like they didn't put any emphasis on education. It's like, no, God's given you a gift, and so you better work hard to cultivate whatever gift you've been given. You know, so we was always pushed creatively. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's dope.
Not like grades didn't matter in my house at all.
Behavior and character did.
Character, behavior, because my dad's been an entrepreneur since before I was born. So he would be a hypocrite for someone who sold a cow and came to England. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, why is he gonna? He's not gonna push a system that didn't do anything for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. He's not going to do that. But that even speaks to the power of when you're a parent, the things you install in your child. You know what I mean? Because that product of, for most of us, when we got in trouble in school was a big deal. But just leaning on the character building, the moralities, the integrities is far more important. In fact, they do that in a place like Japan, where the first few years of your life in secondary school is no exams. It's just about character building. And it can show that amongst black people. Like I grew up in Sierra Leone and here. I got a chance to get best of both worlds. And I think going back home planted seeds in my head that later on blossomed when I passed 16, because I started getting introduced to spirituality and consciousness at 16 because I was in America on vacation with my uncle who was in the military at the time. And I was hearing this conscious talk at one barbershop. And it was shocking for me. You know, when you grew up, like, I don't know if you've ever, I don't know how severe the Christian influence was when you're growing up, but for me, I grew up in a strict Christian home. So it was a mind explosion to hear that who we are as people, you know what I mean?
Even for me, because it's a game of influence. Even if you come hear certain things, it's your whole world is on a daily basis, but it's your current programming tells you the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So when you buck up on a group of men who look like you, who are giving you clear examples of why that is an absolute fallacy and the truth, it's mind blowing. And the first thing you want to do is go to war with the people who
straight away
been holding you back from that information.
I was vexed. I came back to England trying to round up the mandem, like man them. Listen,
they want us to die here. For a white person to slap. Say something else. Yeah, say it.
Say one more thing. So now let's get deep. So for the listeners, I'm here with Mikel, the energy. I'm telling you right now, we're about to go deep now. Now we understand where the brother's coming from. We're going to start getting a bit deep now because it is about, imparting that information so you can spark the mind that will later on travel that road and find their own spiritual journey through just understanding the reference points of existence. What is spirituality to you and what does it mean?
Spirituality is about your use and balance of energy.
That's what use and balance.
Your use of energy and your ability to bring harmony to the energy around you.
To the energy around you.
Cool. Yeah, that is what spirituality is. Or rather, that's what spiritual health is, which is what I do. But spirituality, the definition, literally, spirituality means energy operation.
Right.
That's what spirituality is. So your energy operation.
Do you feel like, as Black people, what are we getting wrong when it comes to understanding spirituality? What are we missing?
I can't speak for Black people in general, but what I would say, this whole world is a game of influence. It's a game of memory, should I say.
Memory. Why memory?
Yeah, because everything's memory. Whether you're dreaming about marrying Beyonce's sister, right? you're using your that's your imagination, which is a memory of the future.
So you're saying imagination is a memory of the future?
Yes, it is.
How do you remember? How you remember something you haven't experienced yet? Like, how do you do that?
I didn't say remember. I said memory. It's a memory.
So what does memory mean?
But even with remembering, it's a recalling of information.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? And that's why they say you can, if you know, they say a dream that you wish will come true. Anything you imagine, you can bring into fruition. That's not just, you know, spiritual, you know, hooply-ha. You get what I'm saying? That's science. Like, it's
real talk. It is.
Like, there's what we consider past and future is just a placement of memory.
Ooh,
do you get what I'm saying?
Like that.
What we consider history and what we consider the future
is just a
placement of memory. And the further you go one way, the more you know, like they say, like in the Caribbean, they say too far east is west.
Oh, I've heard that saying before. Even in Africa, I've heard that saying.
Yeah, well, you know how we just be sharing them things.
Now, for sure.
Too far east is west. Yes. So again, I said that to say, because you asked about spirituality, right?
Yes.
What spirituality is, it's about your use of energy. But there's a reason why I spoke about memory.
Because memory, that's so dope to say. Memory is I guess past, future, present is about where you place memory, and that's incredible from a point of if you think so. For me to really put that into context, how do you look at time? What does time mean to you? Because this will give context to that statement. That statement is philosophical.
Time to me is an agreement. You know, time is only relevant between two opposing parties. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like me being here at 9 is just an agreement. You see?
An agreement.
That's when time matters. Time matters. It's an agreement. For me, it's all about the rhythm of life. Life moves in constant rhythms and cycles. And once you start to observe that, time becomes less and less relevant, right? And you start looking at the rhythm of things. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, you know, like this, like the whole world moves on constant rhythms, irrespective of what's happening in your and my life. There's certain things that we can track from when we was a child till now that always happens. Whether that's winter, spring, summer, fall. Them things is always happening. Whether we're in love, whether we're broke, whether we're always happening. It's a rhythm.
Change. Right.
You see what I'm saying? There's certain planetary alignments, eclipses, full moons, new moons. That's a rhythm that always happens, right? Again, when it comes to, again, same with the seasons, and when it comes to nature, there is rhythms of nature, and there's a rhythm to you. Yes? When you got high energy, low energy, yada, 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 yada. For me, those things are more important to be aware of rather than time.
Okay, so being in tune with the rhythm is more important than looking into time, because time is an agreement.
Because time is an agreement. It's an agreement, but time is like, it doesn't necessarily symbolize anything other than what you agree that it should symbolize. I'm 30, so but it doesn't mean anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas it being spring or summer means something to what you can actually do in that current period. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. I think that for me, it's just a constant reminder of energy is all around us. We're part of that energy. We are participating in that energy. And what we agree on will become our reality, become our time-space movement, what we agree upon. If we agree, like you said, if we agree that this is 12 o'clock or this is 9 o'clock, you have to be at work by 9, it's an agreement we've all made, and we built a system around that agreement. When it comes to, so you're saying that it's more important for people to really look at the rhythms of reality.
Yes, I want to go back to your first question, because I now remembered what you asked me.
Yeah.
Where do Black people get it wrong?
Yeah. Because we invented all this stuff, but some reason when we look at our society, you know.
I'll say that and this is why I spoke about memory, because we live a life that's constantly in memory, is someone else's memory of us. Yes,
memory of us.
Someone else's memory. Our lifestyle, as it is dominated by the unnatural forces of Europeans, right? Our way of looking at ourselves, our way of looking at science, spirituality, life itself. This current world has been led by that group of people. And so this world that we experience is a manifestation of the memory they want to create of themselves. Yeah? Cool. That's fine. But in that memory, this is our experience of ourselves, right? One of oppression, one of subordination, one of, you know, all the yada, 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 yadas, right?
Right.
Now, where we get it wrong, I don't like using that term so loosely, but where I have shifted the way I do things, and what has brought me peace is in realizing that what is good for that man is not necessarily good for me. And though he may have his way, I also have my way. He has spaces where he thrives, but I have spaces where I thrive. My place that I thrive is with nature. One of the greatest shifts for me living in the motherland was having a period of 3 years of realizing that I am not Black. To grow up in London, where as soon as you understand how to speak, you understand that you're a Black boy, and that's not a good thing in a lot of situations. And life only continues to tell you that over and over again.
Like you said, we're living through someone else's memory of us. So that's why they tell us you're Black.
School will tell you that. The playground tells you that.
Yeah, they treat you like that. Racism tells you that.
All of that. And then you go to Africa with all of that on you.
Yeah.
The guy from London, and you get there. I'm not talking about holiday time. I'm talking about time enough where you're living, and you start to be absorbed by it. And you walk into a shop, and you're coming out of your house, so you dress in a hoodie and tracksuit. And the first thing you do is take off your hoodie, and then you realize no one cares. No one gives a shit.
No one
cares. Because you are not a Black person. You're just another human being walking in the shop. That's a small example of my entire experience of living in the motherland.
Where were you? Where were you in motherland at the time when you experienced
Kenya?
This? Kenya, amazing, cool.
And that allowed me to realize again that I'm not Black. I am nature. And so I stopped studying Black and I studied nature.
Nature, absolutely.
Studying, just to answer, a long way of answering your question is this.
Yeah.
Where do Black people get it wrong? We turn away from nature. When nature represents our supernatural powers and abilities and purpose on this earth.
Do you know why that's such a powerful thing? Is because all my clients, I say all the time, when they ask me, Joe, what is true health? I tell them the closer you are to nature, the more healthier you are.
Very simple.
Nature is our Garden of Eden, if you will. You understand what I'm saying? Because when we look at nature, even the pharmaceutical drugs were all based off plants in nature. We isolated chemical compounds to make opioids. But nature was the source of that. So that's very, very powerful. So when we look at nature, for people that's listening that may have just started sparking that brain, nature, how do you define nature?
Nature is the spirit. Nature is the spirit of God. It's the energy and forces that represent in physicality God. You see, this is why
nature is the spirit of God in a physical.
Nature is God's spirit. Nature is God's spirit, and you are nature. This is why they say you are God. Do you get what I'm saying? This is where it comes from. It's not like some, some ego boost.
Yeah.
You are fashioned and formed of nature. I know you probably know more than me, the minerals and compounds in your body that are reflected in nature.
Bro,
and the universe around
dots
us.
Right now. You're connecting mad dots to listeners right now.
Your flesh, your body is only designed through the portal of Mother Earth, represented by the woman. It's the woman that gives us our flesh. Our flesh is the spirit.
Okay, our flesh is the spirit. You would have to expound on that one.
Yes, I'm gonna break that down.
You gotta break it down.
I'm taking you down a rabbit hole.
You fucking me up right now.
I'm saying your flesh.
Right.
Just listen. So let me take this to the top. Spirit means breath.
Yeah.
Period. Breath equals energy. Breath is that which emits from you. It's not only here or here.
Yeah.
Your entire being emits energy. That is what spirit means. Now, again, you can probably explain it more technically than I can about how the atoms form to create the density we call our body.
Absolutely.
Yes?
Absolutely.
But coming together in the billions of atoms that this is just matter, energy.
Yes, it's just energy.
Yes, clusters of energy.
Absolutely.
Yes, so it's not far-fetched when you understand that, yes, you can hit that, but the spirit, this is the spirit. This is the culmination of the spirit. I.e., this is the this body, your representation, and you probably do it because you do fast with people and you witness people's transformation. You probably seen your own.
Yeah.
If you align up pictures of Joe Dash, 20 whatever, Joe Dash 18, Joe Dash 10, Joe Dash 9, Joe Dash 4. Yes. Your spirit has gone through transformation based on the energy you're relating with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's when someone goes, you spiritually shifted, you spiritually grown, you spiritually changed. If you sat down and ate McDonald's for every day for the rest of this year, you will spiritually change. Why? Not because you're praying to a new God or because now you call yourself Al Nafis Dash instead of Joe Dash. It doesn't work like that. You're spiritually changing because you are changing the energy operation of Joe Dash. Whereas this Joe Dash might fast once a week, cleanse twice a month. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Practice semen retention and meditate for 8 hours. Joe Dash tomorrow could be like McDonald's, sex, Coke. Do you get what I'm saying? No sleep. That will shift your entire energy, therefore spiritually change you.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you get what I'm saying? So this body is the spirit. You want to know how your spirit is, you just look at what's in front of you. The body is a full representation of your spirit. Another way to understand this again, the word physical, we always go, I'm not spiritual, I'm less of a physical person, I'm more spiritual. They're the same thing. Physical means nature.
Physical means nature. Yeah.
Physical means of nature.
Of nature.
Literally, the word physical means of nature. Physics is what? The study of
nature. Nature and how nature's energy forces, how it moves, resists, how it breaks down.
Exactly. Yep. So literally the word physical means spiritual. The word physical is telling you about your energetic makeup as it pertains to nature. You see?
That's so dope, yeah. And for people that are listening to this that are struggling to keep up, let me break it down like this, what the brothers say, because it's such a unique way that I've heard it being broken down, which is good because as a teacher myself, I need to find more ways to explain something. Now, there's something called a boson particle that creates third dimensional density. Now, every atom is 99% nothing. So for you to get physical, you need the boson particle that puts you in 3D state. So I understand when you say your physical is a manifestation of your spirit. It is the coalescing, it is the condensation process that which you manifest the physical. So when you say the spirit is the physical, I want people to understand scientifically, if you study biophysics, it will tell you the exact same thing that this brother is talking about. So my question then becomes, what is the mind in all of this? What is that?
Okay, so are you talking about the brain or the mind?
See, the mind.
The mind.
The mind.
Okay,
Not
so
the
the
brain for
mind,
people, the
yes,
mind. Yeah. So
the mind is the consciousness. That is the other aspect of God. Yes.
this is different from the spirit.
Yes, the spirit.
Okay.
Now this is now we're going into sex. Yeah.
Okay.
So the mind, there's two factors to God, which is the consciousness, which is represented by the sun, light, and the spirit, which is represented by the earth. Okay? Masculine, consciousness, sun, plus. Yes? Feminine, spirit, Mother Earth, minus. Yeah? That's those polarities.
Got you.
Okay, so the mind that you're talking about is the consciousness of God. It's the space. Look at it like this. It's like the mind would be the internet, right?
Okay.
And you have this vessel that can access the mind. It's got an app called Thoughts. Yeah, where you type something in and it goes Joe Dash podcast, and it through the thought or Google, it brings from the mind, from the internet, it brings the information you need. Yeah. Something you had no clue of, no relevance to, but you had some sort of inclination. You ever been searching for a song? You don't even know the words.
Yeah, you try to find different bits of it. Yeah,
type that one line and it comes up. That's the mind.
Right.
If you, I would say to people, for the various kind of listeners out there, if you want to understand, yourself, your power, God, then you just look at technology. Technology is only a mimic of us as human beings.
Yeah, we're trying to build a version of God in physical form through AI and stuff like that. We're using that as the new form of spirituality.
Exactly. So this phone can tell you so much about yourself and how you function. Yeah. The mind is Wi-Fi. You see, that's that great expanse with limitless wisdom and information, and all it takes is the correct vessel to channel it. Okay. Every phone is capable, but not enabled. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Every phone, like every human, is capable of connecting with the mind of God, but not necessarily enabling themselves to do that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Now that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world. I think for a lot of us, and I'm happy you even brought the brain part, because that's why I said the mind, because some people don't understand they're not the same thing. People just assume that when you say brain, mind, you're talking about the same thing. But the mind, like you were saying is the internet, and which you can source infinite, potentials of information from.
Based on your intentions.
Right. And the vessel has to be make itself able to access that information.
Exactly.
So when you're talking about learning, are you a person that believes in learning? Are you remembering?
Oh, what's the difference?
See, this is what I'm trying to find out from you, King. I'm trying to find out, because I love your use of memory. The way you use the word memory, it's very, very, very. It opens a channel of thought to remind me. Because now we put that, because I need to bring this all together for people. So now we look at that this mind is the internet. So when we say memory, is based on where we place our agreement with time. So wherever we place our agreement with time, because now the enabling part comes to I look at it as in the actions and the decisions you're making in the present. So if you're making the decision to eat properly, exercise, and you're trying to get in touch with that, you make yourself more enabled, versus if you just went to McDonald's every day and deteriorated the temple to the point where it has no more frequency. So now you're unable. Is that a fair way to assess this?
Yes, but I wouldn't even be so good cop, bad cop with it.
Okay.
You, irrespective of what you do, you're enabling yourself. Life is full of wonderful choices. Do you get what I'm saying?
So you don't believe in good or bad choice?
It's good and bad for you. Do you get what I'm saying? If you everyone's at a different stage. Before I go and digress into something, let me Everything is choice. Everything is choice. So someone who's yamming random nonsense every day, for example, that is enabling them to see and do something. They may not be conscious of that, or they may it may not, whatever it enables them to do, they might not be aware of, but eventually they will find out. Do you get what I'm saying? Because even the person who's turned their lights off and is vibrating on the lowest levels, they're still a part of the consciousness of God. They're still a part of the mind of God. You cannot, if you eat pork and you sleep with white women and you know what I'm saying, you snort cocaine and you vote for Trump and Hitler's on your bed and you get what I'm saying? Like, think of what's the most unwokest person you can think of. Doesn't matter. That person can't escape. You know what I'm saying? That person can't escape the consciousness of God. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why I say it's not so good cop, bad cop, evil. Okay. You can't, whether you want to recognize, again, watch this. Watch this.
Yeah.
Me and you have Google right now. You can write Big Batty Gal, and I can write how to get to Mars. Right. We both have access to the same thing. It's what we choose to do with it.
True.
You get what I'm saying? And what we do with it will determine how it responds to us. We can't get mad at Google for showing us what we search for.
Do
you get what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
We can't get mad at Google for showing us what we search for. You getting ads popping up and you're like, oh, I'm trying to get this out of my life. You are the one. Google's only responding to your behavior.
To your behavior. It's looking at your patterns.
And God, the consciousness of God, right?
Looking at the same thing?
Is just responding to the same thing. Not because, oh, you're Joe Dash and you said your prayers or you didn't. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Not like that. It's based on, remember, the consciousness is relating with energy. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it. Consciousness. Would
you say consciousness is expressing itself through memory?
Consciousness lives through energy. Yes? Consciousness comes alive through energy, i.e. nature. The forces of nature is guided by the consciousness we call God. Let me make this really simple. Because I hate being the esoteric guy. I hate that shit. So very simple. Very simple like this. Right. If there was no sun, there'll be no earth. Whatever you like on earth, planting, avocado, Ethiopian women, there's no sun, you ain't having none of that shit. It's that simple. Simple. Yes? True. So literally, consciousness, the sun, expresses itself through spirit, nature. Do you get what I'm saying? You see, you know the power of the sun through the observation of what happens in nature and nature's relationship with the sun, the cycles around the sun, right? That's true. So that is, if you keep that in your mind, so consciousness and spirit, right? Consciousness speaks and lives through spirit. So for example, us right now, this body, this is why when we die, we don't go, have you ever seen a dead person? Yeah. When we die, they're not there. If you looked at dead, they're not there. The person that you calling, whatever you no, internet, don't do that. Call them, they're not there. It's just flesh now. Yes. Consciousness is no longer expressing itself, through this, it no longer giving life to the spirit. So you're saying consciousness gives life to the spirit? Yes. It's the spark of the spirit. Again, let me take this to another level. The spark of the spirit is the consciousness in which you're speaking on. Got you. Yes. For example, again, just as the man is the spark in the woman to produce a child. He's a seed. Exactly. It's the spark. That's what consciousness is. Consciousness is that spark of that brings to life the spirit. In a simpler way. That's very straightforward. That's actually a good concept. So there's so many ways to explain this based on where people's understanding is at. You can look at man and woman, you can look at sun and earth, you can look at atoms, i.e. protons, electrons. You can look at battery, plus and minus. They will all teach you the same thing if you're observing the polarities that come together to make this experience that we have called the laptop or my life or
that's true.
Photosynthesis, whatever. You can look at it
From
on all different levels,
depending on your
all
perception
it is,
of reality. Yeah.
Yeah, all it is just those two entities coming together to create something new. Do you get what I'm saying?
So where does the devil come in? We've spoke about God so much. What are we getting wrong about the devil? Because we're mentioning God. Some people will say if you're going to mention God, then that's the polarity of the devil. So in the thought of consciousness.
Well, remember, remember you asked what's wrong with black people?
Yeah.
Where we get it wrong?
Yeah.
Again, the devil is a European concept.
Is God a European concept?
No, not at all.
Did God?
The word God is a German word.
If you want to get technical, God,
yeah. But if you're talking about an all-powerful entity, no, it's absolutely not a European concept.
So when you say the devil, do we have it?
There is no. Find me a culture that has a devil in Africa. There isn't any.
Yeah, there isn't any.
There isn't any that, you are the devil. You get what I'm saying? We have tricksters or we have people that come to test you, but they are also aspects of God, aka forces of nature. Do you get what I'm saying? They all help you through this experience called life. You see? So when you're looking at devil or what is known as a devil, you're really looking at something that is isolated from oneness. That's it.
Hey.
You see, like, you're a health practitioner yourself.
I get exactly.
When you isolate certain things, you isolate even the healthiest thing, it becomes poisonous.
Absolutely. When cells deviate from the synchronicity of the body, it becomes cancerous. So we understand when that happens in the spiritual world or the energy world, because we're talking about the movement of energy, and you're looking at. I love the fact that when you brought down that the consciousness is the spark, because I think that's very important for people to capture. The consciousness is a spark, and the consciousness is expressing itself through spirit, using spirit. And bear in mind that your physical is your spirit. That's just coalesced into the 3-dimension that is the being. So the God and devil concept is European. That concept you're saying, that's European. We understood creation, and we understood that we are partaking in creation by way of our ability our enabling of ourselves to be able to communicate with nature, whether through food or different forms. So then for you, you've heard the term soul food, right?
Yes.
Soul food.
Can I say something on that point before you move on?
Yes.
Because this is a really, really good thing for people to remember.
For sure.
Right? I don't have a battery on me right now. Hold on. Let me see if I got
no problem.
a battery.
If you're listening in, this is the Joe Dash Effect podcast. I'm with Mikel the Energy. Follow Mikel the Energy on Instagram if you're trying to learn more about what we're talking about.
Because I like to be very practical with spiritual health. One of the things I hate is when people try to go over your head. And so if I'm going over anyone's head, that's annoying.
Yeah.
I want to keep it very simple, right? So here you have, and there is no battery without plus and minus.
Yeah, you need them.
There's no battery without plus and minus. There is no life without earth and sun. There is no life as flesh without man and woman. You see, those polarities will always exist. That is the polarity of power. The fundamental difference between Europeans' understanding of God and Africans' understanding of God is that Europeans take God as plus and call minus the devil.
Oh, okay.
Africans look at the entire battery and say, this is God. Do you understand?
Got you.
You see? Because mainly, and this is very important to understand, it's not just because Europeans are bad and this, it's not because they're bad, because I want people to understand. You get what I'm saying? Something very fundamental. It's not because they're bad. They are not natural.
There's a difference.
Please understand this. They are not natural humans.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is why it's very difficult for them to understand this, and they're only getting a grasp on this now through their science of metaphysics, quantum mechanics. They're becoming, they're in the nursery stages of this wisdom that we have. Now, remember, let's see if you've been following along, because if you've been following along, that means I'm really getting it. So, Europeans focus on positive, right?
Yeah.
Calling it God, and negative is the devil.
Yeah.
Now, looking at these polarities, right? Which one, out of consciousness and spirit, which one do Europeans focus on more?
I'll say consciousness.
Exactly.
I'll say consciousness.
Right? Exactly. So, which represents the light.
Yeah.
Yes?
They're obsessed with consciousness, raising their consciousness, or their whatever they call it. It's an obsession.
Obsession. Cool, which is fine.
Yeah.
However, what they have lacked in their development is the true understanding and an ability to align with
God.
No, the opposite, the aspect of God. God is the entire battery.
That's what I'm thinking. The entire battery, and realizing that you're looking at different.
But what aspect? No.
Oh, okay.
So they focus on consciousness, but they miss out on
spirit.
Exactly. Spirit.
Yeah.
Is what?
Nature.
Thank you. Yes. So this is why you can explain and understand why the world looks the way it does. Right? With so much things
much on consciousness.
So much things that are happening in nature, right? So in the polarity of male and female, what is nature?
Female.
Yeah. Now you know why women in their society are degraded.
Yes. I get
you see? Now you also know why Black people are also oppressed, because Black people are the people of nature.
Yeah.
So we as a people are feminine. Ooh. Yes? We are a feminine principle. Ooh. Does that make sense? Ooh. So, and this is why our cultures, a lot of our cultures are matriarchal in Africa. This is why that male and female balance traditionally is honored and understood. The fundamental difference is that devil, everything negative minus devil,
seen as a bad thing.
Dark, woman, Black, that whole other aspect of God is what they believe is the devil. That whole other aspect of God is what validates consciousness.
Yes.
You need the entire battery. And so the fundamental difference, going back again, Europeans look at plus.
And focus on the plus. And
negate
the whole fact that the whole battery is different aspects of God.
The battery is what gives the power, and that's because they focus on what is seen, not what is unseen.
Yeah, it's true. This is why, to be honest, as a scientist, this is what they drill into your head. They drill it in your head that if we can't prove it, it's a lie. And even that alone is flawed in its own concept, because a lot of the things that move the physicality is unseen. You know what I mean? Like air, we can't see air. We can't see certain things. We can't see gravity. But these are the forces of God, you know,
it's kind of cute. It shows you the infancy of their so-called wisdom.
Bro, it's so mad that when they feel like they've got something, they form secret societies when they feel like they've got a little nugget.
Yeah.
When in actuality, by being in this form...
Even their secret societies are cute.
I know.
They're cute. Honestly, they're cute.
Oh, God. Listen, it's 2021. We want all the smoke. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, because the reality of it is, when you do your due diligence on both the spirit and the consciousness and see them as different aspects of the same thing, then you can come to a certain level of understanding. Because if you're still separating these things as completely separate entities, you're missing the point. There is no good and bad, only if you personalize it based on your expectation of whatever you wanted to see come out. So if you went this way because you wanted a car and don't get the car, you saw it as that way was bad because it didn't match the outcome. But it's far more deep and bigger than that. So I want to move on to another important philosophy you spoke about that's been helping me find a great amount of peace, which is the peace in, love out. I
Yes.
really love that saying because like I've been trying to teach my daughter that for a minute, and I'm like, don't worry, daddy needs to get more information to understand that, because I realized as I got older, something that I tell my brothers all the time, as I got older, peace became so important to me. It became like everything. And I didn't even do it consciously, just enjoying that peace and harmony and that joy. I will go through hell and back just to get that in that kind of, from the material, from the physical sense. So when you said peace in, love out, break down that philosophy for us, please.
That's from the word nakumaisha. It comes from this word nakumaisha, a statement that I coined to help people understand what love means. Love, nakumaisha is a Swahili slang for I life you. Yes, it's basically saying I give you life, right? And the reason that I coined that phrase is to help people understand what love is. Love is got nothing to do with affection. Love is giving, seeking nothing in return.
Love is giving and seeking nothing in return. Okay.
Love is giving, is totally submitting yourself to what you are giving. Not to receive, but in what you become in the process of giving. So this might get a bit long, so let me just break it down. So giving, in principle, most people say when you hear giving, seeking nothing in return, you think that's not fair. What if I give and have nothing left? Giving is not about anything material. Giving is dealing with your thoughts, your actions, your intentions, your interactions, your practices, and your participation. Yeah?
Okay.
That is the ways in which you give on a daily basis. You can never not do those things. As long as you are alive, that what I just said there,
yeah, it's a constant.
Is a constant. So you are constantly giving. Those things, the more you think, the more you act, the more you intend, the more you interact, the more you practice, the more you participate,
the more
you become.
You
become something. Whatever you use that framework for, you become. Yes? You think about making music, you act on it, you intend on doing shows, you interact with other artists, you practice guitar, you become a musician. Apply that anywhere. Therefore, love is not about what you get back, but what you become in the action of love. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's a becoming.
It's a becoming, very practically, because you're constantly giving. Through those portals of thinking, acting, intending, interacting, practicing, you are constantly giving, therefore you are loving. Does that make sense? And so when we talk about peace in, love out, yes, we talk about reminding ourselves what we are before we are this wonderful spirit, which you call Mikel, and I call Joe Dash. Before we are this wonderful spirit, we are peace, which is consciousness. Consciousness is got nothing to do with our emotions. Emotions only happen on the human level.
Yeah.
Yes. Our human existence is love. You can never escape love. Your human existence is fashioned by the law of love. Giving. Yes.
Even
giving,
if you're harming and you're, say, for example, a murderer or psychopath, are they loving still?
Yeah.
Work that through.
Because love is got nothing to do with what you're affectionate towards. Love is about your consistent action towards what you are dedicated to becoming.
Okay.
Yes.
So I need to remember it's a process.
It's a program that you do to yourself all the time. Now, love can never be removed, but love can be perverted.
Okay.
Meaning I can manipulate you.
Yes.
To taking certain actions, having certain thoughts, having certain interactions, practicing a thing, participating in something till it becomes your life.
Yeah.
Something about you is telling you that I don't really like this, or this isn't me. But based on the trance you put yourself in through your constant practice and participation, you are in love.
Yes.
Even with your toxic person.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Why are you in love? So this is what I say to people.
Okay.
You posting about Trump saying you hate him.
You're in love with
You love him.
Yeah, you're in love with this man.
Why you love him? Why do you love Trump? Because you post him.
You're dedicated in your thought, in your participation, interaction. You're dedicated and you're putting yourself.
You love him.
You love this
him.
man.
You might not be affectionate towards him.
Right.
You might not want to stroke his toupee, but you love him. Does that make sense?
That makes all the sense in the world.
This is also looking at the fact that
makes all the sense in the world.
Sensations, right, are like events and things are just events and things. So the sensations we experience that we call positive and negative, it's all subjective. Yes. Sensations are sensations.
They are what they are.
This being is here to have all the sensations. So some of us are addicted, just like we're addicted to sugar, sex, right? Yeah. And dopamine. Yeah. Some of us are addicted to arguments, to drama, the energy that comes out of us in hate. How we're able to use our voice in rivalry and in war. We love it because it allows us to express something otherwise not expressed. Bro. Do you get what I'm saying? So in principle, this is how people get locked into the spell of negativity or repeating traumas or addiction to bad or toxic things. Yes, they know intellectually it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah, when we look at the society moral compass, that we can start to.
But the sensations that they experience when they go out and murder, when they go out and do all kind of heinous, to that something in them is in love with that experience.
Yes,
because they are constantly in that. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's
so love it. So you can't escape love, but your love can be perverted and used against you.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
And this is why, for example, I am very intentional as an artist. Me, I can talk about anything. I got opinions on everything. Do you get what I'm saying? But you don't see me talk about things. Certain things. I talk about what I'm intending on creating. And what I'm intending on creating is the answer to whatever problem you can bring my way. Do you get what I'm saying? And so this is why I tell people, like, for us as a community, like, why I don't want to watch no more slave movies. I don't care if you're making a new movie about.
I don't. Gang and slave movies are the two movies I'm not on. I'm not on watching any gang movies.
Slave movies, gang movies, that's your business. I don't care. I don't want to hear another "I have a dream" speech. I'm sorry. Let the man rest in peace.
Peace, for real.
Let Malcolm rest in peace. Let Garvey rest in peace. We say rest in peace, but we're constantly digging up their memory.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
We're in love with
it. Do you get what I'm saying?
We're in love with it.
And we're in love with that trauma because our imagination currently can't fixate itself on anything else. And this is what my job is. The community that I've built, known as Watu Aroho, which means people of the spirit. The community that I'm building, which is dedicated to spiritual health, growth, heaven on earth, is to help people get into the rhythm, discipline, and responsibility of creating heaven in their lives. Because we cannot have heaven if you can't even imagine it.
You have to imagine.
If you can't have peace on the earth, if you in your little flat or you in your little shamba, if you can't dedicate yourself to peace, then how you expect people who have historically been dedicated to evil to switch? You can't move away from your own evil, much less the man who openly admits and constantly shows you that he's out. He's on the wicked man team.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, okay, that's what you're on. What am I on? I'm on the love program. I'm on heaven in the now. You see? And so I use my thoughts, constantly my actions, constantly my intentions, constantly my interactions, constantly my practice, constantly my participation is centered on heaven on earth. Thus, my entire experience, my love service is me becoming heaven in myself.
That even, bro, that deserves a round of applause, King, because you've answered multiple questions from a point of view of, as Black people, we're in love with our trauma. We're in love with it. And partly we have this outside stimulus of slave movies and this and that and Trump and all these things to keep reinforcing that love, because we're living in the sick mind of a sick memory.
It's a broken record. Best believe you me.
Repeat. Yeah.
I've spoken about this and I won't speak on it again. I'm not doing it. People can watch my old videos now, because even me putting my energy on it, I gave it to 2020. And so, fam, they love seeing Black people just wank their energy into the air because they're angry at something. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's true.
That is the quickest way to use up your energy and do nothing at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So every so often, something happens to trigger us as a community, which riles energy up and creates a simulation of, it does create some sort of change, but for the masses, it's just a distraction. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just a distraction from how. It is. It's a hard thing to say, but you know.
It's just what it is. It is what it is. There's nothing we could do about that. That even is an amazing segue to my last bit of my segment, which is heaven is your responsibility. Because see, heaven
is my right, and heaven is my responsibility.
Heaven is my right, and heaven is my responsibility.
That's the entire statement.
Okay, heaven is my right, and it's my responsibility.
Because it validates the last part.
Yes, it's my right, so it's my responsibility.
Another thing I want to say is that we are here on earth for pleasure. That's what we're here for. We are here for pleasure.
How so?
The highest. What do you mean, how so? Yes, the part of the biggest reason why pleasure, because this is what the planet yields. The pleasure of challenge, the pleasure of triumph, the pleasure of loss, the pleasure of sex, food, interaction, music, rhythm, vibration. It's pleasure. We're here for that. We're here for that. But the spiritual goal is to always remember and know that amongst the pleasure you are peace. That is why no matter if you're Muslim or Christian, right. Yes, you say amen at the end of prayer. You see, you say amen at the end of prayer. And when someone dies, what do you say? Rest in peace. It's a reminder. Amen means peace. That's what amen means.
Okay.
It's a Kemetic word for peace. Amen is the first, when you study the 11 laws of God, amen is the first principle. Or should I say, it's not even the first principle, it's the source principle.
Okay.
Peace. Okay. Yes? So taking it, back to, back to earth, our way back to peace, our amen, peace is very fundamental for us to remember as we journey through this earth. Peace is what moves you from the girlfriend that you thought was going to be the love of your life to onto better pastures. Peace is what allows you to accept that you got fired from your job and actually be inspired to create a podcast. Peace is what says that, you know what, I've studied for 5 long years and now it's time to move to another career. Peace is what makes you not cry over spilt milk. Peace is what makes you forgive. Peace is what allows you see what I'm saying? Peace is what keeps the oneness, the equilibrium, the balance on earth. If you do not have peace, sex cannot happen. And when I say sex, I'm not talking about this ill thing we do. I'm talking about what we've been talking about this whole podcast.
Right.
Plus minus coming together.
Yeah.
They are in conflict.
Yeah.
They're conflicting energies. It's only peace that makes them something greater. You have to submit. You have to both be vulnerable and responsible. That is what peace that is what allows peace to come. So we are on this earth, make no mistake, to experience pleasure.
And that's been perverted. That's why
it's been perverted because the ones who currently are trying, poor things, to run this world, they don't understand the balance of masculine and feminine. They are the proprietors of what is called toxic masculinity. It's nothing to do with men. It's everything to do with an imbalance of energy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you can't have peace without harmony of masculine and feminine. Feminine, yes, represents the spirit, nature, aka the pleasure sensations that we have. Mother Earth is what gives us all of our pleasures.
Follow.
If we do not understand how to submit to Mother Earth, we are never going to be able to have peace with Mother Earth. Therefore, Mother Earth will ruin us with her pleasures, with her ability to manifest. And what I mean, let me give you a very practical example.
Right.
Plastic was invented by Europeans in the 1950s. Yes, in a laboratory. They, using their artificial intelligence, manufactured a material that would help them in the short term, but ultimately ruin them in the long term. Be very innovative and powerful and solve immediate problems, but have long-term adverse effects. This is what I mean when you are not able to have peace with nature, i.e. submit to the wisdom of nature, you will abuse nature to your own detriment. And this is what we have happened on earth, where we are unable to go back to peace. Right. We are here for pleasure. We are here for happiness, health, wealth, abundance. You are here. This is why, my brother, you know, people complain about rappers that talk about this, material this, this, or sex selling this, and, you know, adverts that call us into lust. Why? Because this world, like, we are here for those things.
Yeah, for the pleasure,
we're here
for all of it.
Nyam food. We're here to have sex. Do you get what I'm saying? We are here to delight in sensations of the body. You understand? And of the earth. We are here for it. However, it is too much focus on one aspect of that. That's caused the imbalance, which means you get situations where all of these, that's why they say, why does everything that feels good, why is it sinful and wrong? It's only sinful and wrong because you're unable to be at one with those things. You see what I'm saying?
And they were trying to control us by telling us that it's all sin and that's wrong and it's this, that, but...
Again, I don't even give them that much credit. I don't give them that much credit, fam. Okay. You understand? You got a people who are very young and it's their ignorance. It's truly and truly their bold ignorance that has created the experience of the world that we have. Yes? Yeah. What they gave us as sin is their understanding of it.
Yeah, their perspective.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Their perspective and understanding of it. You see, but when you understand that all of these things, earth, the sun, consciousness, the spirit, this is the collection of God, these sensations that we love, food, sex, you know, interaction, human connection, music, then they can never be bad, ever. They can be perverted through our inability to be at one with them. You see what I'm saying? The mindset that abuses women, the mindset that abuses food, the mindset that abuses nature can only be born out of someone who is not natural. As simple as that. It can only be born out of someone's not natural. You lived in the motherland, so you know no one's fighting over food. Because food is just dead. When you want it, it's there.
Real
Everyone's
talk.
eating.
Real
and
talk.
You, the monkeys, the birds, the dogs, the
Everyone's
kids, all
breaking bread.
eat from one tree and it can't finish. That's the abundance. Whereas these people represent people that grow up in and are born out of spaces that cannot harvest anything. So their understanding of life comes from that, where it's what you see is what you get.
That's where you get that famous line in it. What you see is what you get. True.
Yeah. Whereas us as a people of nature, we are born. We are coming from a space where clothes are not even necessary.
And no one was raping each other too.
No. Why? Why when it's time to have sex, when it's time to have sex, you have sex?
There's no need.
Because it's not even there's nothing to, do you get what I'm saying? There's nothing to fight over. There's nothing to hoard. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you know it's in abundance. It's there. It's in rhythm. You're not even your life itself, you know, is a rhythm.
Yeah.
So you respect, like, that's why in, like, for example, Yoruba, they have names like Babatunde, which means the father has returned. Do you get what I'm saying? It's always a recognition of the fact that this happens in cycles.
Yeah.
So whatever you don't get through with now, you're going to come back and do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Again, in another memory, in another time. You get what I'm saying? Me and you have done this in a past life. Do you get it?
Yeah,
we've done this. We've had this interaction. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, and you know, and that's what creates the synergy that blows our mind. You're like, oh, you think that.
This has happened before.
So, yeah, and so again, just going back, it's like understanding that who we are as a people of nature is abundant, is a part of the whole. We are the people that represent the entire picture, the masculine and the feminine. You see, and our history, our culture will expose that that knowledge and wisdom to us if we just observe it. My power comes from knowing that I'm nature. I am nature. So you see, like, for example, like it's COVID era.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nature's still grinding. You know what I'm saying? It's COVID era. Nature's still grinding. The birds will be chirping.
Squirrels flying, squirrels still
squirreling.
What the hell?
Foxing, still foxing. You get what I'm saying? Spiders still spideying, ants still anting. You get what I'm saying? Sun still shining, rain still raining. You get what I'm saying? Nature is not looking at the times. Nature is on its rhythm.
Yeah, it's on.
And when you realize, again, not through any esoteric jargon, very practically. I hope I've been very practical today. Bro, now we can get lost in the source.
You've been transformative.
When you realize that you are nature, when you realize that you're nature, this whole thing becomes a different experience.
That's when you unplug from the matrix right there. And
I'm a squirrel, bro. Man's a squirrel. I'm a squirrel, bro. Just burying my nut.
Brother, thank you, man. Blessings, King. Thank you so much for the wisdom, bro. Like, that is such a lessons. And I think I always tell people, you got to be in love with learning. You got to be in love with what we call learning, or should I say, or what we call knowledge, because we're on this planet to experience all these sensations as you're talking about. We're here to experience learning, experience losing, winning, all these things. It is the way we have been perverted as human beings to focus on wins and losses, and losses are bad and wins are good and all these things. But when we understand that we are nature and we have to find our rhythm and find that instead of finding the next job, the next this, the next that, the next this. We've just been, part of the one that one little aspect, that positive. Go to uni, get a job, you're part of that positive. But we need to live holistically. That's what it is. It's understand we are part of the one. And our levels of consciousness will determine our heaven or what you would want to call hell. In fact, when I looked at the word hell, it meant that which was hidden. And I realized, so ignorance is not bliss then, because the fact that you don't even understand none of these principles is why you're living in hell. You're living in what is hidden. So you can't find heaven because, like you said, you have to imagine it. If you can't imagine it, then how are you going to even bring it together? Do you understand what I'm saying? So people, listen, mind, body, soul, check. You've heard the powers of this brilliant brother right here, Mikel, the energy, teaching us and dropping game. So I suggest you watch this 100 times, because trust me, I will, because I need to break down some parts and understand and absorb that information. Brother, do you run any courses or retreats or anything if people wanted to get down and just really be part of that vibration?
I mean, look, Waroho House is there for the African diaspora. Waroho House is the spiritual health community. Again, this is a community that I've created to bring together people like yourself, all around the world in the African diaspora who are dedicated to their own spiritual health growth. And we come together in various ways to contribute our journey in teaching and in learning. And so it's a very powerful experience in that community, and it sees people grow. So you can follow at Waroho House on Instagram. Every year we take people to the motherland.
I see that. I see some of the flicks.
Yeah.
I'm just like, bro, I need to get on whatever the trips you got coming up, King, because
2021, you're gonna want to be in. You're gonna want to be in Kenya this year. That's what I'm saying.
You know what? Outside in the evening, dancing some, I don't know where you lot were, but it was like next to some traffic lights outside, normal. You know what I mean?
That was Buckingham Palace.
That was Buckingham Palace. And you lot were just going at it like Buckingham Palace don't even exist.
That was Buckingham Palace lockdown. That was during lockdown.
Did police harass you lot?
No.
How you gonna harass a man that's just carefree and just dancing anyway, just enjoying and dance? What's the significance with dance? Quickly, just what's the significance with dance? Like like basically, we understand on the surface level that dance has cultural and spiritual significances, but you could have been a poet and a spoken word and just stood there the whole time and still got the message across. So why dance specifically?
It's a game. It's a game of energy. You get to dance, movement, rhythm, vibration. It's how we call on the intelligence of God. Yes, it's how and it's, again, very practically, you go for a run, you're going to be inspired with some thoughts. Yes, these are things that are scientifically proven. Science is just catching up with African spirituality.
Real talk.
You know, and so you got to understand dance. But the reason why dancing is even more powerful is because you get to play with the rhythm that you're listening to carry your energy into a different space. You know, quite simply, you can play Hear My Cry, oh Lord, and you'll see how we are as a people. The people of nature means we are people of the spirit. Watu Waroho. That's what that means. Watu Waroho.
People of the spirit.
Exactly. Right? Also translate to people of the heart, which is another scientific thing that you understand that the heart is the first organ to be produced in the body. Yes? So the first organ to be produced, so your spirit starts with your heart, not your brain. So that's another thing to understand. So you will listen to us. When music plays, there is not a second between us and the music before we are at one with it.
Yeah.
This makes us very powerful in our ability to invoke emotion. True. But it makes us susceptible to programming and manipulation if we do not have intentions with it.
True.
Yes?
True.
So, hear my cry, oh Lord. And someone just like this. Nice. Yeah? And then you hear, Natty wine. And immediately, without a second, you know, I remember being in a house party, Tottenham, N17. Yeah? And I was like, early 20s. Everyone's in this party, fam. And it was just the ends, the hood, bare gal, and they played Pow. And you know when Pow was Pow?
Yes.
They played Pow. The place went nuts. And you know, the DJ did the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. The DJ, before it got to I'll Crack Your Skull, which is the most gassiest part, he played Frank Sinatra.
Rah.
And I was like, he's a wizard.
Rah.
Because before it reached a place where it would have spilled over, he played Frank Sinatra. And in my mind thinking, I know I grew up on Frank Sinatra. My mom loves Frank Sinatra. But I'm like, I'm cool. But I'm like, these ain't gonna mess with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the whole room. Literally, the whole room turned into a cabaret. Yeah. And I'm like, that DJ, the way he used that energy, because it's the way he used that energy. If he just played Frank Sinatra, people be like, what are you on?
What are you on?
But he went straight from DWE to Frank Sinatra. That means that energy has to go somewhere.
Where? Yeah. Somewhere safe.
So it got transmuted into this Frank Sinatra where everyone, for a second, the goons, the girls, the aunties, the uncles, they became, you know, the white collar wearing, you know, jazz singer. Do you get what I'm saying?
They're involved.
That is what dance is all about. That movement of energy, the ability to shift in spiritual expression in fractions of a second, in a subatomic second. Do you get what I'm saying? That is a superpower. And that is like, when you hear me talk about Cesar Rojo, this is what I'm here to teach, because our superpower has been imprisoned by the industries that surround them. Acting, music. Actors channel spirits. Actors do the deepest spiritual work. Yeah. And they've taken it for games. Do you get what I'm saying? And so, you know, and so all of that to say is my work is helping us understand our superpowers lie in the very things that we've been taking for granted, which is our creative performing arts. That is our literal, and I mean this in a very literal sense. I don't mean it in you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean this verbatim. That is your super natural powers. Yeah. And I mean that in exactly how you heard it. That's what I mean.
No, real talk.
Supernatural powers.
Supernatural, meaning you're supposed to have it.
You're supposed to have it. It's who you are. It's moreover, it's what you are responsible for. There is no name a white genre. Oh wait. White genre of music, go.
Heavy metal.
Nope. These things are born out of black people. All of them. Every single one of them. Even the ones you think are not. Even the ones that are now dominated by white people.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? I'm sure if you ask one of these kids today and play jazz, they think jazz is white music.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
It's not.
They think classical is white music too.
That's my point. There is no such thing. It's not their power. Do you understand? Like, please, this is where I get really emotional, because it's annoying. My words can't even help. Like, I need to make a movie, and then even then you watch the movie and you're just going to think it's a fantasy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes the reality is more shocking
it's not their power. So you see, like when black people get vexed that white people always copy them, they don't have a choice. That's one thing. That's another place where, you know, you ask where black people get it wrong. You think that white people do not have that same expression with music and creative arts that you have. You create it, they copy and innovate from it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how it goes. That's the story. End of.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's always been like that, and it'll always be like that because that's who they are. That's who you are. Do you get what I'm saying? So our superpower, meaning our intelligence, and this is now to the parents who cuss their children out. All they want to be is rappers, and all they want to be is actors. All they want to be is. Meanwhile, when you come off of work, you submit your entire 8 hours after work to rappers, actors, singers, dancers. That's what you do, right? You go, you watch TV, or you go to the club. So you're cussing the superpower that sustains you in your toxic environment. If you never had music, you'd kill yourself if you go into work the way you do.
Yeah.
If you never had radio, you'd kill yourself. If you never had actors, you'd kill yourself.
Yeah. Real talk. But these are the same people you're telling your son or your daughter.
But you're saying people you're telling, don't go do that.
Yeah, know that. Be a doctor and lawyer. Meanwhile, whilst you enjoy.
Meanwhile, the doctor and the lawyer is deriving inspiration from
these people.
The creatives, the performance artists. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's insane.
So what we do in our music and our creative abilities, we literally are the sages who commune with the mind and bring down ideas that allow the people of earth to build from it. Yes, you wouldn't like, you know about Gary Vee. Gary Vee is a good example.
Yeah.
Gary Vee's got nothing to do with music, hip hop. He's built amazing. He's an amazing entrepreneur, and great business investor, and all of these things. But his foundation is hip hop. His entire inspiration for the way he does everything
all the time.
Talks about it all the time. That's what I mean. He doesn't need to rap. Rap and the attitude of it is what has empowered the way he does certain things.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
His whole style.
And that's why he always uses hip hop and why he's so in. You understand?
To the rappers,
that is our superpower.
And all we have to do is tap into that.
Take responsibility for it.
Great. There we go.
Not make a mixtape and hope someone signs you. Take responsibility. Like once you've gone into that space and you've created whatever you want to create, doesn't matter whether it's India.Arie or whether it's Nicki Minaj, everything is valid. Everything is valid and has its purpose. Once you've gone into that space and that's what you've created, you are to take responsibility for that. So if you're calling man to whap, you have to take responsibility for the entire thing. I saw a video the other day where, what's her name? Cardi B was singing a song WAP, and then her daughter came in and she turned down the song. I'm like, that is the shit, not your song. Yeah, that is the shit.
That means you know what's up. You know what's up. Yeah.
That's the bit that's wrong. The song, there's nothing wrong with the song. Talk about your vagina. Why not? It's there. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you, as a woman, cannot bring your daughter into conscious understanding of what it is that you're selling to other people's daughters, then we have a problem. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's where there lies the problem.
You ain't taking responsibility for the entire realm of your powers. Does that make sense? Yeah, I can't say whatever it is that I say, heaven is my right, heaven is my responsibility, and get upset with what comes back at me because of it.
No, I don't mean.
Do you get what I'm saying? I have to take responsibility for what it is that I'm giving out there. And own it entirely.
That's true.
Do you get what I'm saying? And own it. You own, if she got a Grammy for WAP, she would own it.
Yeah, exactly.
She got $1 million for WAP. She would own it.
She'll bank it.
So don't be denying it in your house with your daughter, bro. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Simple as that.
No, it will.
That's what's wrong with the world. Nothing to do with, this one likes white girls, or this one has sex with men, or this one,
don't matter.
This one doesn't. Listen, people are too up their ass about how the world should be, and they're not focused on creating the world they want to see. You're too busy arguing with people about their version of this world.
Yeah.
This world is just a realm. It's just a realm. And the more clear you are on the realm, what you want to create out of the realm, is the more this realm is going to fashion itself after you. People don't understand that. But you out here bashing everyone, white supremacists, LGBT, everyone you disagree with.
Yeah, real talk.
You got something to say on that and wonder why they're still in your life. Or wonder why it's still, you can't find no peace. You can't,
Like
you're
you
talking
said,
about that.
like you said,
You're talking about that more than anything. You're in love with it, bro.
Yeah.
You are in love with it. And you refuse to take responsibility for your own powers.
Yeah.
That's
You're
it.
in love with it. You're in love with the conflict of all these other worlds. So you're just
thank you. You can't have peace.
You can't have peace because you're in love with the wrong things. You know what I mean? So that makes all the sense in the world.
The source principle of God is peace. Before we are flesh, we are peace.
We come in peace.
The first principle of God.
Peace. You live in
exactly.
Peace. All is peace, man.
The first principle of God, the first active principle of God is oneness. With everything, even your enemy.
Good, bad, whatever you want to perceive it
oneness.
As. It's all
oneness.
You're looking at the different minds of God.
What it is.
It bees like that.
It bees like
it bees
that.
Like that. It just bees like that, King.
It does bees like that. It really bees like that.
Bruh. Oneness is the key. Well, if for people, you're gonna have to reload this like 100 times to catch the layers that have been discussed today, and how we start to fashion our minds to really find our peace. And I'm happy you said it, because when I tell my family members or brothers near me, I'm like, bro, peace is so important to me that I'll walk away from any situation that's just not in line with what I'm in love with. I'm in love with peace. I just want to chill, take care of my responsibilities, and live this life and whatever it has to offer me.
It, man.
You know what I'm saying? So for you young man out there, check what you're in love with. You're in love with the streets. The same thing you're talking about is taking things from you that you claim to love. You're in love with a sensation. You know what I mean? And you have to understand that and come to that understanding and be responsible for your own power when you put out messages or you're acting and walking a certain way. You have to take responsibility for that. You know what I mean? And that's very, very important. And even whatever you're doing, if you don't like the life you're living, take responsibility, because you're in love with something that's not serving you. So King, what is the last words for us, man, in our departing? Because I could kick it and pick from this brother all night. But what is some of the parting words to the younger generation out there that are just finding their way in the world? Where should they start? So I'm 18, I'm 17 or 16. I don't know nothing about spirituality. I'm hearing this I'm a grown adult, and I'm hearing this for the first time. And I know I need to find what spirituality is. What is your parting words to help those new beginners on that new journey?
Believe in your heart's intelligence. Trust in your heart's intelligence. The heart's intelligence doesn't deal with time, it deals with rhythm. Rhythm transcends time. You can have anything you want on the right rhythm.
Jeez.
Any single thing
you want.
It's just about your alignment. That's all it is. So again, you ain't that smart. The mind, the brain is a terrible thing to use. The brain is a terrible thing to use. You know, that's my statement. It's a terrible thing to use. Not waste, it's a terrible thing to use.
I was gonna say, not waste, a terrible thing to use.
We use it too much. Your heart has all the intelligence. Follow your highest excitement and your highest intentions. Take responsibility. That's it. One more time. Follow your highest excitement. What are you excited about? And I mean that random thing you're excited about. It could be buying trainers. It could be going to the motherland. It could be helping out someone with an idea. Follow your highest excitement and your highest intentions. Pair that with your highest intentions. I want to become a master at this. I want to be, you know, a professional at this. I want to help you with your highest intentions, with your highest excitement, will help you understand your purpose. That's it.
That's cool. That's cold. That's cold. Much love. Mind, Body, Soul Check, the Joe Dash Effect podcast with Mikel the Energy. Follow him at Mikel the Energy. He's got the Chesarojo House, is it?
Warojo House.
Sorry, Warojo House.
Warojo.
Spell it.
Warojo.
Wow. So that's Waroho. house.
No, say it. No,
Don't do me like
say
that.
it.
Don't do me like that. I tried to
No. I said house.
I tried to slide. He caught me. Okay.
Come on, black man.
Wahoho.
Waroho. Roll the R is easier. Waroho. Yeah, there you go.
Waroho.
Yes.
I got Waroho. Okay.
Waroho house.
Waroho
That is the
house.
spiritual health community.
Join in, man. Follow, get involved.
Check out Chezo Rojo. The spiritual health game is online. Episodes.
And you got music as well, man. You got music as well, bro. On Spotify, everywhere.
Do you know what? We have a whole realm.
Bro, you got your own Wakanda. That's what the hell you got. You got your whole Wakanda over there.
Listen.
And
I'm giving people 24 months. I'm straight down. I'm giving people 24 months and then I'm signing out.
Well, you ducking from us, man.
I'm going back to that realm, bro. I'm telling you.
Everyone's 24 months, so trust me, you're on the clock now. So check it out. Follow this brother, man. Learn, grow, adapt. Taking the information and take responsibility. This information is also your responsibility to use that to transmute some of the energy that you're trying to get away from. You don't need every self-help book in the world. You don't need all of that stuff. You just need to be in love with the right things, the process. Remember, you are nature. You are a massive component of nature, and everything you love and hate is also a different mind of nature. You have to understand that your consciousness speaks through your spirit, so you can have this experience. So that is all love, peace, love, and light, family. Much love.